All right. I want to thank everybody for coming this morning. I know we've got Anita, who hopefully will be here soon, so we got a chair for her. Steve Boyack may be coming, so we may have another. So thank you for coming out this cold morning with the sun's out. I want to thank Officer Pettinato for joining us to go over something that seems to be growing exponentially, frauds and scams, and they get more sophisticated all the time. I love the ones that have broken English, because then I know that that's a scam right in front. But Officer Pettinato is with our West Bloomfield Police Force, and I'll let him introduce himself in a moment. But right now, I'm going to turn it over to Pastor to get us kicked off, and then he's going to turn it over to Officer Pettinato, and then we'll go through the presentation. We'll have some Q&A throughout, but also at the end, and just logistics. Bathrooms are here to the right, going towards the Fellowship Hall on the right, and hopefully you've all found food and coffee. So, Pastor.
Thank you. So I'm Pastor John Boulani McAllister, the pastor of Covenant Baptist Church, and just in case you don't know who I am, I just wanted to share real quick, one of the reasons why we had asked for this partnership, and Bill Reed and Mike Kingsbury from Cross Point Meadows,
And Gene probably as well.
Oh, I didn't know about
Cross Point.
I didn't know you had additional people on the team. Okay, well, thank you. We wanted to make sure that, a lot of times as churches, we ask our congregations to give without showing them how to be financially healthy. And so we wanted to come up with these financial health workshops, and this is the kickoff one about scams, and then we have others for those that will be pulling up the stream later. You're welcome to come in person, but you can access this again later. And so that was one of the main motivations that we have done here. And hopefully you take this information and you pass it on to others of our congregation. Again, that's another reason why we are taping it, so that people who are not able to come can have it for years to come, so we can continue to grow as a church and be financially healthy in our households, as well as continue to build the kingdom of God. So let's pray. We thank you, O God, for this opportunity to come today to share and to get some wonderful information that will help us to become all that we need to be in you, and protect ourselves and be good stewards of the resources and finances that you have given us. I thank you for the partnership of Covenant Baptist Church and Cross Point Meadows, and the way in which we have been able to work together in this way. Thank you for the long-lasting relationship that we've had over the years. And as we go forth today, we pray that you be in the midst of this conversation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me, and thank you for attending. I've already talked to a few of you scams you've been, have happened to you, and it seems like everybody's kind of avoided some here and there. I think everybody's been probably tried to be scammed at some point, whether phone call, email, or whatever it may be. I'm going to cover some of the basics, and then at the end, if there's any questions, and we want to talk a little more in depth about some of the other scams that are out there, how they're able to do this, how they're selling your information on the dark web, what the dark web is. I know a lot of people that's probably a little more in depth, but let's talk about me first. I am officer with West Bloomfield Police Department. I'm the crime prevention officer. I've been there 16 years now. I have training in computer crimes and frauds, and evidence technician. I was a former canine, and the list goes on with the training. But that's my contact information. There's also my information in here, both the flyer and the pamphlet that you received. If you ever need to reach out to me, I'd rather get a phone call from you beforehand saying, hey, I'm getting this call about whatever it may be, Consumers Electric wants to shut down, or maybe I'm getting a call from the IRS. I'd rather get that call from you and stop it beforehand before you go out and send a check or whatever it may be. So who's being targeted? It's across the board. Everyone's being targeted. I had a family member that's a couple years younger than me was targeted. They own a business and they got a call. They own a pizzeria. It's a Friday night, busiest night of the week. They got a call. Hey, we're gonna shut down your electric. You're behind. You know, and he's like, he doesn't do the books, but he wants to make sure his business stays open on the busiest night of the week. So he's now out running around trying to find gift cards to make sure. And he's a couple years younger than me. So next thing you know, he calls his brother and says, hey, do you know anything about us being behind on the electric? And he's like, what? No, don't buy any gift cards. So stopped him. That's what they try to do. They try to rush you. So keep that in mind. If anybody's pressuring you, rushing you to do anything, whether it give information, whether it be send a gift card, whatever, check, you name it, don't do it. Take a minute, pause. So this is it's kind of small, but I'll kind of go over what we have here. There was 92,000 victims, over 92,000 victims it was 2021. These are the most recent numbers. The 2022 numbers haven't come out yet. And I'm sure it's going to be higher because we are trending upward. $6.9 billion in losses. Average amount was $18,000. Yeah, 74% increase from 2020. Locally in West Bloomfield, last year we had 423 reports, so at least one a day. And if we look here at, if we look here at the age range, so $100,000 for the group of people under 20, $400,000 for the people in the 20 to 29 group, 937,000 from 30 to 39, and it goes up from there. So as we can see, there's a trend. The older you get, the more likely you are going to fall for these scams. Or more money you have to give them. So I don't know many 20-year-olds that have 100 grand in the bank, but 60-year-olds, yes. So as you can see, the numbers are going up. The victims actually did go down a little bit, but the numbers are still rising up, and we'll probably see the numbers go up from there. What kind of categories? It's probably a little hard to see, but top one was imposter scams, online shopping and negative reviews, internet scam services, prizes. This is what was reported to the FTC, so the Federal Trade Commission. So the online shopping and negative reviews, that might be just a business reporting, a negative review on their account. But internet services, prizes, sweepstakes, lotteries, telephone, healthcare, business opportunities, privacy, data, security, and cyber theft, investment related, and traveling, vacation, timeshare plans. What I will say is these numbers must be higher because not everybody reports to the FTC when they've been a fraud. Most people simply just cancel their card, get a new card. It's not always at you. But if this does happen to you, I think you should at least report it to the FTC, whether or not you go into the police department. Because as you see, like with one or more fraud a day, we have roughly 10 detectives. So, and they have other crimes too. We do get swamped with a lot of these reports with crime. So that's why these prevention talks are important, because if we have less victims out there, we can give more attention to other crimes, and also, you know, these more fraud crimes. So, these are some of the scams I'm going to talk about here: the telephone, banking scams, charity, email, text message, phishing. Does anybody know what that means? Phishing. We're going to cover what phishing means. Mystery shopper, and some technology crimes at the very end. So telephone scams, they vary from robocalls, I'm sure everyone's got these, text messages. What they do is they give false promises, opportunities to buy, investments, free product trials, free grants, lotteries, and the classic threats of jail or lawsuits. So in this flyer, I was talking to someone about this earlier. There's number 5. There's 2 websites that I know of that if you go on and you type your name in, or anybody's name that you know of, you'll see their date of birth, you'll see their address, you'll see their relatives, whether it be associated relatives that they may have lived with in the past, or children. So what I believe these scammers are doing, they're doing a little research before they make these calls, or once they got you on the line, and they could just easily type up, and they can find out what your child's name is. So now if you get a call middle of the night and you're half asleep and, you know, hi, it's John, I'm in jail, I need help, can you bond me out? You're gonna believe it more than I'm your child, and then no other information beyond that, other than I'm your child. You may not even have a child. But if they have that information, that's just a little more that gives them credibility to deceive you. So if you can avoid that, so you can, those websites, you can opt out of them. They do make it a little difficult to opt out. You have to, one of them, you have to actually go find your page. You have to copy the link. Then you have to go back to the main page. Then you have to find the opt-in that's very hidden, or opt-out that's very hidden, and then click that, and then paste the link in. So they do make it difficult for you to opt out. And it's because they make a profit selling your information. So what you can do is you can report to the FTC these phone calls. And I have the phone numbers here. If anybody wants to write it down, I can read it out for you. It's 1-877-382-4357.
Yeah, just a second.
Yep.
Just a second.
It's okay.
Is this the FTC?
Yes.
That was 877-382-4357.
4357.
Say that one more time because I was 877.
382-4357.
Now, are these the continuous calls, the scam calls, or is this something else?
So that is actually to report scams online.
Oh.
Now they do have another number on here. This is for reporting spoofing. So if anybody's knows how to use a QR code, I think most people probably do not know at this time. I did put some QR codes with websites on the bottom here. So what you can do is, if you want to find the FBI scams and frauds information, just cover up the other ones and pull out your phone. You'll be able to click it from there. I have Social Security on there, Michigan fraud for the state fraud info, and then the Federal Trade Commission. The do not call registry, you can try that. It doesn't work. I'm on it, so I still get the calls. I still get threatened with arrest. So Just kind of humorous. These are the do's and don'ts. You can try the National Do Not Call Registry. If you want the phone number, I can give it to you, but it's kind of useless. Be wary of callers claiming that you've won a prize or vacation package. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Hang up on suspicious phone calls. So spoofing. Has anybody heard of that word, spoofing? So they can spoof pretty much any phone number, and what they like to do is spoof the police department's phone number. There's nothing we can do to stop it. They're masking their phone number with the likes of ours, and then you get a phone number or you get a phone call saying that you're going to be arrested, or your grandchild is or child is arrested and needs bond, whatever it may be. Now you're going to look at that phone number and you're going to write it down, and you're going to look up West Bloomfield Police Department's phone number, and it's going to be the same. But it's not. So if you ever get any calls like that and you recognize the phone number as the police department's phone number, please call us back at the same number, the 248-975-9200. It will go to us. It won't go to the scammer. They're just masking theirs. And there is a way they can do that with emails also. So be cautious of that, because they can get a hold of a family member's email address and or work colleague. We've had it happen within our police department, that we get an email from I got an email from one of our detectives a week or two ago, and it said, "Hey, blah blah, I need help," blah, blah. And it was like, all right, the wording was weird. It didn't add up. So I gave her a call. She said, "Nope, that's not me." It went out to the whole police department. So yeah, they're getting very good at these imposter scams. So be cautious of that. So don't give in to pressure. Don't take immediate action. I don't like to say yes to people on the phone if I don't know them. So when I answer the phone and they say, "Is this James Pettinato?" I say, "How can I help you?" I don't like to give them that yes, because if it is a business or whatever it may be, they can use that yes voice to sign you up for something. It's possible. So I like to say, "How can I help you?" I like to avoid the yes. And then, or I'll say, "Tell me more," whatever it may be. Don't provide your credit card number, your bank account information, or personal information to a caller. Don't send money, and don't pay with any debit cards or gift cards.
Could you repeat what you said? Don't pay with any debit or credit card.
Yeah, to anybody that you don't know over the phone that's calling you. And we'll talk a little bit more about. So when you get a call from a business, maybe like Microsoft customer service, right? Most people either have a Mac or a Windows product. So they'll say, "Yeah, you have a virus on your computer." You have to be cautious of going to the internet, to a search engine, and typing in Microsoft customer service to find a phone number to double check if it's legitimate. And then, so scammers will buy fake ads. So when you go to search Microsoft customer service, you might find a bunch of phone numbers. Some of them are fake ads from scammers. They want you to call them, or even if you have a legitimate problem with your computer, they want you to call them. That way they can get you on the hook, and you called them, so you're already believing it to a certain degree. You may give over your credit card number. So you have to be very certain that you're on the actual Microsoft website before you actually give personal information out. We're going to talk about banking scams. some of the overpayment scams. This is where, oh, sorry.
Are you gonna have a handout, because I can't read any of that.
Um,
I think you need to have a handout.
well, a lot of the information is in here
Is this presentation
and
available?
also in here.
But
Will this
it's not,
presentation be available if you get to me? I can send it?
Yeah, I can
You
do
know,
that.
what we'll do is make sure your email address is on the sheet over here, and I'll get this, presentation and we'll email it to you.
Everything that's on here, I'm telling you, so you're not missing anything by not reading it.
learn by reading.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
no, we are from the older generation, paper is
Okay, all right,
golden.
okay. I have a couple here if you want to make copies.
Oh, I can do that.
You want to do it now?
Yeah, go ahead, keep going, and I'll do it now.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
But the writing is small on that too, so just be cautious. So overpayment scams. This is when you might sign up for something. You might take a job as a mystery shopper, whatever it may be, right? You have to be very cautious about what you sign up for, what you agree to do. And if somebody sends you a check in the mail and you're expecting $50 and they send you $5,000 or $2,000, whatever it may be, they're going to say, oh, well, that was an accounting error. Just go cash the check and then send me back the funds. But you know what, for your hassle, go ahead and keep an extra $50. So you just keep $100. And that's how they get you to commit their crime for them. So those checks are usually stolen, they're fake, they're whatever it may be, and it will cash at the bank, whatever. But once it's verified after that two or 3 day whatever process, they're gonna realize that it wasn't real. And then you are now on the hook for that money with the bank.
Oh, I just want to bring up, I don't know how this happened, but we had put our mail in the mailbox and we were going to pay our credit card bill. And someone stole our mail out of our mailbox. And then they immediately somehow made a copy or got our number of our bank account and had checks or whatever. And they went to like 5 different Myers within 1 weekend and pulled out, lots of money.
Yeah.
So how do they have their own machine that they make copies of a check? Or, I mean, we just couldn't figure out how it happened, but it's happened to my brother-in-law where they put stuff in like a post office mailbox and they fished in the post office mailbox and got his mail out and took money out of his account.
Yep. So, I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but technology has advanced pretty far from the old days. So Photoshop, you could go in there and erase out all the information that was on there. Now you have a blank check. As long as you print it with a high quality printer on quality paper, it's going to look legitimate.
Yeah, and I had contacted Myers and
Yeah.
they weren't gonna do anything about it, and I even saw a video of the person taking money out, but that person went to like many other homes in Southfield and did the exact same thing. So
Yeah.
to this day, I don't even know if they caught him.
These scammers and fraudsters, they're very difficult to prosecute. A lot of times there's jurisdiction issues. If it's something local like that, yes, you still need a lot of evidence to actually catch that person. And a lot of departments don't have the resources. Fortunately, we do have a decent resource here. We have a computer crimes unit, but a lot of departments, it's just 1 or 2 detectives and they cover everything. Are they going to be able to track down these? So it's very difficult. And then when you talk about overseas phone calls, that's another issue in itself.
Well, back in the day, show our ID to prove that the check is legit.
Well, and credit cards too, right?
Yeah, and they don't do that
Yeah.
anymore. They don't ask for proof. So
Yeah.
why can't they be forced to just continue with the old-fashioned way of proving?
That's beyond me. So it's way above me. All right, so unsolicited check fraud. So that's what I was talking about. And then automatic withdrawals. So I was talking to you about checking your accounts, right? Being on top of your accounts, just making sure you're not getting hit with anything that you didn't sign up for, whatever it may be. And then phishing. So this is where we're going to talk about those emails that probably everyone gets that you've won something, whatever it may be. Or it's, hey, you need to verify your account information for Netflix or Amazon, whatever it may be. You're going to click that site, it's going to direct them to their site, and they're just looking for information. So they want to know your mother's maiden name, they want to know anything they can get out of you. So if they can get, the more information they get out of you, like the more they can actually, they have programs that they can plug in this information and it will just run numbers for them until they get passwords, and they will try passwords, and that's how they get into accounts. So you do have to be cautious of that.
So I got a question. When my husband was working, he's retired now, but at his company on a regular basis, like every 3 months or 6 months or whatever it was, they were required to change their passwords. So do you recommend that you
Yeah.
on a regular basis change your
Yeah, I do
passwords?
recommend that. Every 3 to 6 months, if you can change your passwords. If you get any notifications that you've been part of a data leak, my phone, it's an Apple phone, I'll get a notification in my password that I've had X amount of passwords that are part of a breach, because they're actually searching some of the dark web and they can find your information, and you got to go in there and change it, because it's just a matter of time that someone's going to use that password and get into your account. But
And passwords 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is not a good password.
No.
The word password is not a good password.
No.
You have to be a little more sophisticated in creating your passwords, because I know it's hard to remember, but
Yeah, just write them down.
anything that's simple, they're going to try first.
Is that also true if you have a two-step verification?
Yeah, that helps.
That you need
Yes.
to change your password every 6 months if you have that?
It's better, right? But there are somehow ways around anything. But yes, do the two-factor. You should be good unless you get any kind of notification that there's been a data leak or anything like that. Now, my grandma, just the other day, she did the two-factor on her Yahoo account. Well, then she eventually decided, I don't need a cell phone anymore. I don't go out anymore.
Oh, no.
So she canceled her cell phone, and her Yahoo was working just fine. And then all of a sudden, it decided, oh, we want to verify that you are who you are. We're going to send a text message to your phone. She can't get back in that Yahoo account now. We've called. They want a $50, or no, I can't remember what the fee was, but it was a recurring fee for their customer support. And so she was like, forget it, But yeah, so make sure you keep that phone if you're, yep.
So I had to pick a new password yesterday.
Okay.
And what was cool was it gave you a list of like 6 items that needed to be in the password, and as you're putting in your new password, it's marking them off, which I'd never seen before.
Yep.
So that made it a lot easier to.
Yeah, when you have capital letters, when you have lowercase in there, when you have numbers, symbols, That does help. Don't use any passwords that include your name, include your dog's name. So if anybody's on Facebook these days, do you ever see those, I guess, I don't know, like, oh, where did you grow up? Kind of like about me, kind of like things that get shared along. And it's like, where did you grow up? How many siblings did you have? What sports did you play in high school? That's all the information that these scammers want to know, because they can just plug it into their systems and they can generate passwords. It just gives them, or what they do is they go to the forgot password, right? And now you're gonna have some questions in there, such as what was the mascot of your high school, right? Now you've already said in that post that you're that you went to Madison Heights Eagle. So how easy is it just to figure that one out? All right, now they got one. Now if they use the other one is my mother's maiden name, right? How do they find that information? They go to one of these websites, they type in my name, now they know who my mother is. They know her maiden name. Now they're in my account. Now they have access to buy anything or do whatever they want. So you can report banking scams, report them to the police. You can report them to FTC also at the numbers that are on the sheet over here. You can forward phishing emails to the FTC. The address is spam at symbol uce.gov.
And what do they do?
Well, hopefully they're going to try to stop them, but shut down their accounts. But
It's so many.
yeah,
It's almost, they do it all.
I was telling
It's
them.
probably a legal approach to have to get them shut down too, right? To it's legal challenge.
I don't know.
They may not be able to do it because I got just last week a friend who's a missionary, and it was a message email from them, but it wasn't from them. It was like you said, it's from and I researched the dot, and it was like one person was from Mexico and somebody else was from Taiwan. Sending out these, and then, so yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, now you're dealing with different countries too, and whatever it may be, different governing bodies. I think India is a little more lax on shutting these call centers down. These call centers, it's a full-time job for them. They go in, they sit down at the computer, and they make, I don't know, maybe 1,000 calls a day. And if they get one or two people on the hook, for a few $1,000s, they've done their job, right? So, yeah, I think other countries need to step up with shutting these call centers down, and everybody can do a little better with, trying to stop this. So do be suspicious if you're told to wire a portion of the funds from a check that you received or a bank or company, like I talked about. Be wary of lotteries, free trials that ask for your bank account number, so don't give that information out. Verify the authenticity of a cashier's check with a bank that is drawn from. So if you just receive a cashier's check or a check, you can always call that bank and ask if it's legitimate before cashing it. And then when verifying a check or issue, contact the bank. Cover that. Don't trust the appearance of checks or money orders. Like you said, they can be duplicated. Don't deposit checks from strangers or companies that you don't have a relationship with. Don't wire money to people that you don't know. And don't give your bank account information if someone calls you, even for verification purposes. Don't click links. What I like to tell people is if they're legitimate, you can always mail whatever it is to me, right? And I'll take a look at it then. We don't have to have a conversation on the phone. and just end it there, right? And then don't accept a check that includes overpayment. Charity scams. So these happen quite a bit after there's been a hurricane or other earthquake or whatever natural disaster. So COVID-19 scams were big. So they basically set up fake organizations, take advantage of people's generosity. And then what you can do is ask for the name, address, phone number to verify the charity's existence if you do want to donate to that charity. Ask for the nonprofit registration phone number. Ask how much of the donation will actually be going to the cause, because some are better than other as far as their administration, cost and whatever it may be. Some goes all 100% to the actual charity, but you can check with the Michigan, the Attorney General's office, which is mi.gov/AG charities. Anybody need me to reread that?
And we will send this to you so you have it electronically as well. So it'll be a good thing to
Yeah, we
reference.
got it.
Yeah, but it might be a little small for some of the readers.
So it's mi.gov/AG charity.
Yep.
Yeah, /.
And you could check with the Better Business Bureau too, see what kind of reports are on there. Maybe if they're actually a good company or organization to donate with.
And I think that third bullet's an important one, right? Because if they set it up and 90% is going to them to accept some money.
Yeah.
They legitimately can say, yes, our money, we have money going to that, but if it's only 10%, it's not where you want your money going.
So verify the name too. Fake charities often choose names that are very close to well-established charities, so they might say that over the phone just to, okay, you're gonna go look, you're gonna do your due diligence, you're gonna go on the website and you might think, okay, the American Heart, they might have said something other than association, but now you see American Heart Association, you're like, oh, that must be it. They must be legit. Not really the case.
And one that these are links that are within the document where it says Better Business Bureau or the IRS database, are those actual
Yeah,
links?
they are.
So if we mail that out, people can click on those and actually go to those websites.
Yep. Don't give in to high pressure tactics such as urging you to donate immediately. You should be able to take your time to do your research. So if they need to have it over the phone, they're not going to let you go. Which a lot of times, if you do get stuck on the phone, they will stay on the phone with you until you drive all the way to Walmart, Walgreens, whatever. They will stay on the phone with you. I read a lot of the reports that we have here, and yeah, they'll sit there and they want to be on the phone with you, and as soon as you get the gift cards, they want you to send the picture of the gift cards. That way they can get the numbers and that money's gone instantly.
Can I ask, sometimes I've gotten calls where they're saying, hey, we're talking about the police. We want you to donate towards police, blah, 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 blah. So is that?
Well, that's the same thing. You would want to do the same thing, find out their registration numbers, their name, address, phone number, and yes, there are, but also check to see how much they're actually. So there's a lot out of southern states, I think Texas. They'll call up here and say it's for the police association, and people think it's the local police, your West Bloomfield Police or Farmington Hills Police, or whatever it may be, and they just donate. Well, that money's going all the way back to Texas, and they may take 90% of it and give 10% to a local police department down in Texas or whatever it may be. So you do have to be careful about that. And then, yeah, don't send cash. Pay with a check or a credit card. Credit card is going to give you the most protections. If it turns out it's not legitimate, you can call your credit card company. Hopefully they can give you that money back, or wipe it out from your bill. Text messages and emails. So never click any of the links. Yeah, it's a lot of times they're often just trying to do the same thing, either phishing or possibly put a virus on your phone. So you do want to stay up on your phone's software, right? Updates. So I like to set mine to automatic update because it's giving you the best fraud and scam protection, computer virus protection that you can get. So as soon as that one comes out, have it automatically upload. A lot of times it does in the middle of the night. Doesn't affect your day. So just have that set up. That way you don't have to, because the older, whether it may be your Windows computer, the older software is not, it's like these hackers are already working on the next way to get around all the virus blockers, whatever. So you do have to stay up on that, whether it be your computer, laptop, tablet, cell phone. So set those to automatic updates. So these are some of the examples. Everybody's probably got one of these at this point. Whether it's FedEx, they're saying this is your order update, whatever it may be. I think this is one that I got. So I just delete them. I don't click the links because I don't know where that link is taking me. These are this is Netflix. That was also, these are all sent to me. So they're trying to get me to update my account. So they want me to go in there, put in all of my information, maybe even my credit card information. Now they got my credit card information. So, and that's possible, that might be happening to you. That's why your card keeps on getting, maybe you're going into some of these. So, okay. Yeah, they're crafty, so they're able to get a lot of this information. And this Home Depot $50 voucher, I shop at Home Depot quite a bit. I get these emails. I'm signed up with Home Depot. Is it legitimate? I don't know. Do I need $50 to find out? No. So I don't bother with that. So any of that kind of stuff.
I get 2 or 3 of those a week now from Home Depot.
Oh, constantly. Yeah. 40, 50,000 unread emails in my. Just, protect your computer by updating your software automatically. And then anything else I didn't talk about? Using multi-factor authentication when you're for any of your accounts that you use, your bank accounts. It's very important.
Is everybody familiar with the MFA, the multi-factor authorization? That's really helpful.
It's like signing up. It'll send a text message to you or a phone call, and it's a different way of somebody. And usually, once you've verified with a device, you don't have to do it every time. But if someone from another device tries to use it, it's going to send a phone call or a text message to your phone to verify it's actually you.
Yeah, but a lot of my banks are like TurboTax. When I go log in, if I'm on a browser or something that I haven't already registered with it, with my machine, it'll send a text to me right then and there. Say, what code, and I got a minute or maybe 10 minutes to put it in. And so that way somebody can't just do it on the outside, because if I get a note that says, hey, you're logging in, enter this into the browser, well, I got it. The guy that did it, wherever they're doing, doesn't have the code that you need to do. So if you have that set up and have it set to go to your phone, You can also have it set up to go to your home phone if you don't have a smartphone, and it'll say it to you on the phone, or it can send it to an email that you.
Yeah.
So if you can set those up, it's really a good thing.
What is that called?
It's multi-factor authentication. A lot of people say MFA because the world loves acronyms. So if you hear MFA, it's for multi-factor authentication, meaning more than one way to be authenticated. So you do your login and password on the website, and you have it set up to say, before I let anybody in, I want to put the code in, so send it to my cell phone or call my home phone. And when you get that number, you put that number in, and then it'll let them in your banking or whatever the website might be. But it's a good thing to do if it's offered by your bank or financial institution.
And I just wanna add on to what you said for that, my kids are like, oh, we need to update so you have automatic payments instead of the old fashioned way of writing a check. So my husband went and did that, and he had a new, phone, and he has his, Gmail account. So he typed it in this Gmail account, and he made a mistake. So there's this lady down in Texas who has the same initials and the same last name, and was getting these text messages, and she's like, okay, I'm sorry, I don't have Spectrum. And so she went into our account because she had access, because my husband put her Gmail account by mistake, and there was just 2 numbers different. So that freaked him out, so be careful in regards to that,
So back your data up, whether it be, and the cloud isn't always the best way, but yes, back your data up on a hard drive for your computer, whatever it may be. So if you do get a virus, we've had people get viruses and then they say you have to pay this amount, otherwise we're going to wipe out everything on your computer. A lot of people have family photos on there, you name it. You don't want to lose all that, so always contact us first because before you do anything like that, because we would rather you have us look at it than just give them your credit card account information or bank account information.
Did you say call the West Bloomfield Police Department or your local
Well,
police department on that?
yes, you're local. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not in West Bloomfield,
Yeah, call your local.
we're probably not going to help you out then.
But you guide us, say if you're from Farmington Hills or.
Yeah.
Farmington Hills.
2 things. I want to say that if you don't know what Officer Pettinato means when he says back up your hard drive, write this down: external hard drive. It's an external hard drive. What that is, it allows you to back up to a hard drive that's not on your computer. So that way, if they follow through with the threat and get it and wipe the stuff out, you still access your station and everything. So, external hard drive. The other thing is, are you going to address at some point in your presentation the people that have all this information that take it to the next level and actually come to your home with the stuff? You talk about that too?
No, I wasn't, but it's possible they could come to your home to follow up with some of this. So be cautious of that. If you're weary at all, always give the police department a call. We can at least put out extra patrol on your house or whatever it may be if they've threatened to come to your house. We've had some threats, and I think maybe 1 or 2 times we've had people actually show up at people's houses.
What were they coming to do?
To follow up on the payment or whatever it may be, to give some kind of like threat. So just be very cautious of that, and always call the police department if you. Okay, so these are some of the newer ones that are coming around. So Google Voice, it's basically they want to use your phone number. So these scammers will try to get a hold of you and try to get you to verify the Google Voice, or they'll send you a message. They'll just use any phone number. And what they want to do is they want you to sign up for Google Voice That way they can use that phone number as a scam. So don't fall for that one. So if anybody's trying to get you to sign up for Google Voice, don't do it. AnyDesk or Microsoft Teams. This is where the scammers are actually, a lot of times those viruses are not really viruses at all. What they do is they call you, they get you to download AnyDesk or Microsoft Teams. Now they have access to your computer, everything in it. So now they can download all of it. And then what they'll do is they'll make it look like your computer's frozen. And then they'll say there's a virus. Well, we'll release all your documents back to you if you let's see. Sorry. They'll release your documents back to you or give your computer back if you pay this amount. Well, it might just, we've had it where it's just a program running over through AnyDesk or Microsoft Teams, and they're not actually like in your computer. You could just delete that program and your computer is going to be fine. Now they will probably have your files. So now anything that you have in there, whether it's banking account information, social security card information, whatever it may be, now they have access to. So be cautious of AnyDesk or Microsoft Teams.
Question on Microsoft Teams. Is it the real Microsoft Teams?
It's Microsoft Teams.
Because
Yeah, it's a real Microsoft
most
Teams.
businesses are using it.
Yeah, these are legitimate
Yeah.
programs,
AnyDesk
AnyDesk or Microsoft
Yeah.
Teams. They're just using it to take over your computer, get into your files, whatever it may be. So yeah, so they want you to install those programs, or you might even have them on
And then they're going to ask a little bit more information, like your IP or how to get to you, right?
Yeah, what they do is they get it
They
on
just
your
gotta get
machine,
the
and then they ask you to share your
Right,
screen
right.
with
Yeah.
them. And now they've got full access to your
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
point I want to be clear on, is that Microsoft Teams, they're legitimate programs.
program. Yeah.
So there's some information you would have to share with them.
you don't, not the IP address. There's a code that you
Okay.
type in to get remote access.
Yeah,
So they get remote access from that code that
So
comes
you-
up on
yeah.
AnyDesk. I haven't used Microsoft Teams, but I
yeah,
guess it's
most
very
businesses
similar.
are using
Yeah,
that anymore.
Yeah.
Microsoft has made it financially attractive with all the other stuff they sell. So you just have to be careful with that. You have to give them something in order for them to be able to get in and use it.
So cloud access job scams, they want you to sign up for Amazon Cloud Service, and they want to get your username and password. They can do a lot they can scam other people if they have that, if they sign up for Amazon Cloud. And then we'll talk about some other scams that are kind of trending upward, I guess, with the Ukraine, hurricanes, tornadoes. Just be cautious of those charities. Do your due diligence and look them up on Better Business Bureau or the Michigan AG Charities. Be wary of advertisements and calls about free government grants. So that's pretty big too, is the free government grants. They want to try to get you hooked up with that, but they basically want to get all your banking information. Rental scams. So with rent so high right now, and actually since COVID, we've seen more of them, is where these scammers will find, and these are local scammers sometimes, sometimes they're not, but they'll find a listing for a house, right? And then now they're gonna put that listing up because the market's so crazy right now. If there's a decent, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and it's only $1,200, you're gonna jump on that. Well, they're gonna need payment right away. So you might pay right away, and you go to show up at the house, and it's now just a list. It was a listing that they found on Zillow or whatever it may be, and they're trying to. So I've heard of that a few times now. So you have to be cautious. Actually meet with the person at the house. Maybe do research on that property then before giving them, any money.
Yeah, we had that happen in our neighborhood. The guy doesn't live at his house. He lives in like a senior home or whatever, but the house is still there. And there was a couple that went into the house and the neighbor's like, you're not supposed to be there, and called the police. And so it was a scam, just like what you said. Well, yeah, we rented it. No, you didn't.
Yeah, and there's like Facebook Marketplace scams too, for vehicles maybe. Same kind of thing. They put a listing up for a vehicle. It might be well below the Blue Book value, and it might seem like a really great deal, but they're going to want to like conduct that transaction. Oh, I'm not in town right now. I can't show you the car, but they want to get you on the hook with some money. They want to get some money sent to them. So be cautious of that. And then IRS imposter scams, because it is tax season. So you have to be cautious of that. They may contact you by phone, email, post mail, or even text message. And they may need to verify some information, whatever it may be. Be very cautious of that. Don't fall for you owe money over the phone. You're gonna have to pay, or otherwise we're gonna arrest you. It doesn't work like that. You will have a chance to appeal any kind of discrepancies with your taxes or whatever it may be. So always call the police if you are worried about that at all.
Just a question on that, because the social security number is probably the least private number we have, at least for me to go to high school. That was my high school ID.
Oh,
You had to get a social security number. Yep. And I think it was even printed on my badge for high school. So I don't know, how many, has anybody in this room had somebody file taxes against your social security number?
Family members,
I have.
Yeah.
10 years ago, somebody filed it using my wife's social security number. And by the time we filed, said, no, you've already filed this year. And so I had to deal with the IRS, and remember the woman on the phone even saying, well, how do I know you're not because I'm trying to help you solve this. I was really surprised at how uncooperative the IRS was. But I had to do a police report with the Farmington Hills Police Department. So how often are you seeing that?
Quite a bit. A couple of years ago, it was real big. We got hit pretty big with that, with people filing taxes.
Because I think what happens is, it's not even through a scam like this. They got into some company's database, and they lifted a bunch of numbers. So be careful in that. And even when you write your check to the IRS, so put your 1040 blah 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 on your social security number. Only put your last 4 digits. You don't have to put on the whole social security number.
Anymore, when I go to, we had to change dentists recently. I don't give them my full social security number. They always ask for it, because that's how they use it. They're gonna make sure that they're getting the credit, you're gonna be able to pay your bills. I understand that. But at the same time, I don't know who's looking at their database.
Right.
I don't know who has access to it.
Right.
They could have some punk kid that's off the
One
street.
of our lieutenants a couple years ago, we ended up raiding out of Henry Ford here. There was somebody working there in the accounting office, and it stole a bunch of social security numbers, information. In part, one of our lieutenants had their information stolen from this person.
Yeah.
So
if I give them anything, it'll be less.
The least you can give them, the better. But a couple things I do want to mention here at the end, because we are at the end here, and then we can do some Q&As. There's more information on this website. It's in the handout that you now have. And then, so freezing your credit, on this sheet, there's the 3 credit bureaus. I've gone in there because I don't plan on opening any loans or anything anytime in the immediate future. And if I do, I can simply go in there and unlock. But I froze my credit with those credit bureaus. So it's just another layer of security. That way I don't have to fight anything in the future, whether somebody's opening a credit card in my name, whatever it may be. So that may be something you want to do is contact the credit bureaus and freeze your accounts. And then I do have this handy list here of pretty much a lot of what we talked about in one way or another. So these are the general tips. And then there's some more resources on the bottom with the QR codes. Does anybody have any more questions about scams, frauds, anything that's happened to them?
Yeah, so my concern was what had happened with everything going online and credit card numbers and people using your credit. Does it work if you go and get like NetSpend or go to or American Express or whatever and get one of those prepaid credit cards? It could be used like a credit card, but nobody else can go over the credit limit because it's a prepaid card.
Yeah, as long as it has protections too. That's something you can do. If you want to sign up for like a one-time thing, you don't have to worry about them automatically reoccurring payment annually every year. It's that you can do that. Yep, that
Because I
protects you.
wanted to do that because I filled out the paperwork to go to Planet Fitness, and they wanted to take $10 out every month, and I'm like, no, you're not going to get access to my information on this little piece of paper. So I went and bought at the grocery store one of those prepaid cards and said, okay, I'm going to pay for a year.
As long as they take it, sometimes companies won't take a prepaid card like that.
Yeah, well, it was Planet Fitness.
Yes, and I had actually, my husband's got pregnant today, but he's not here. One of our seniors from church was 90. I went to pick him up for a church event, and he said, he motioned me in. He said, I'm on the phone right now. He said, somebody's trying to hack my Chase Bank account. I said, oh, really? Can you come up and look? So I go upstairs, and he says, this is so-and-so. He's helping me. He's from Chase. Well, that was the hacker. But I got to tell you, I told my husband that I used to work, I was a data analyst. And so I'm not totally savvy, but somewhat savvy. But I even told my husband, I said, for the first 2 minutes, I thought it was the guy from Chase. They had some kind of an overlay, just like his bank account.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got control of the mouse, which was my first red flag.
So he must have had AnyDesk or Teams or something downloaded.
I don't know what it was, but
and they're pretty good about making a fake website.
oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
And it actually looks like your account and your name and everything.
Yeah,
and
tells him, he says, this is Gene, this is my friend. So the guy thinks I'm a neighbor or whatever. So I'm sitting at the computer and he's got the little thing. He says, see, and here's he's circling the little lock. It's a secure site, and he's showing, see, here's the account, what they've already taken out. Well, it's from 2 months ago. So I know he uses the same overlay over and over. And I can see that he's got control of the mouse, which was my other first thing. If they remoted in, they had control of the mouse. So that was my other flag.
unplug the computer.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm texting my husband and I'm just talking to the guy because I want to keep, and it's whatever. What I would have liked to have done is take a screenshot of it to show the police department, but I did. But anyway, so I did unplug the computer.
Yep.
And they're even saying, now you need to call this number. He flips over his bank, and it's the number to call. So they've got the same stuff. So the guy's acting like he's from Chase.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, in the beginning, I thought I was talking to the customers. So anyways, the minute we unplugged it, the phone rang. He goes, this will be that guy. I said, don't answer it. That is your scammer. No, he's the guy from the bank. He's helping me. Yeah. And I felt so bad. And I'm like, thank God that I showed up. So anyway, so then we had to call Chase, and they give you a new phone number and a new password, and we have a whole bit so that we could lock out his account before these guys were able to do any damage. Yeah. But I asked the gal on speakerphone while he was sitting there, would you ever, as a member of Chase, remote into the computer to help anyone? She goes, no, ma'am, we wouldn't. I wanted him to hear that. But that that was kind of freaky to me, cause I thought that they were this close to coming in.
Yeah.
This whole scary stuff, yeah.
I just wanted to come back to that whole show up at your house thing, and it's a really sensitive for me because that has happened to my mom. You know, when I was living in Rhode Island, and you know, she called me and told me this guy shows up and he had all this information and and he was so convincing to her she let him in the house. And until she got to the point where she wouldn't give him the information, then he got really irate. And he was in my house.
Yeah.
And another time, my wife was overseas on a mission trip, wherever it was, conference. This guy, we had a couple weeks ago, she and I had talked about changing our cable service. This guy shows up with a truck, with a clipboard, all this information printed out, but I couldn't get a hold of her because she was overseas and I couldn't get a hold of her. And I'm talking, I'm like, because we discussed everything before we financially do it, right? So I'm like,
Yeah, they're gonna come on Tuesday. She didn't say that.
Yeah, but it was just like boom. So he was so convincing to me that I let him change it and everything, and then I finally got a hold of her like a day or so later. She was like, no, so we immediately canceled everything. So I'm just saying, it's very sophisticated. So I think some of the main two takeaways that you're saying, I got is whenever you are suspicious, don't continue.
Yep.
And if you get duped, contact the police.
Yep.
And make a report and all this.
Yeah, whether it's on the phone, email, in person, if you don't expect it, it's probably not legitimate, right? And with this, back in 2020, the census, it was stopped for a little bit, but we put out a lot of stuff about the census workers because they go out and they want to get information too. Well, what's preventing the scammer from putting out a mock or anything and going out and acting like a census worker? So you gotta just be careful with that. Always call. We would rather take your call than you fall down the road, with any of these. You're not bothering us by any means by calling us and saying, hey, I have, Microsoft or Amazon calling me. I don't know if it's legitimate. What do you think? We would rather take that call than the call, hey, I've just been scammed out. Can you send a police officer over to take a report? So, anyone else have anything happen to them that they want to share with the group?
Just right now, I got a text saying that my account's locked and they can't get money out of my account.
Yeah, so
It's for an 810 number, which I don't have any banking account that works in that 810.
yeah, I don't know how they're getting through these Apple and Verizon and Sprint. They need to catch up to some of this to try to block it beforehand. There's only so much we can do on our end, but we just need these companies to step up. And if they're seeing these mass text messages go out from these call centers or whatever it may be, that should be red flag number one. For them, is we got to shut down this, keep the integrity of our company.
Question.
Yeah.
Because I know a few years ago they said, protect your credit cards, so that they can't be scanned. Is that happening much?
Oh, the RFID, by putting in the sleeves. It's possible. It's possible that's how they're getting credit card information, but you won't know necessarily it was from somebody scanning a device or anything like that. But I do keep my ID and I don't have my credit cards in sleeves, but yeah. So if you can, it's just another layer of protection.
This is one. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, well,
Yeah,
it's
they're
not
making
there.
bags now and wallets that have RFID protection. And that's the thing. I guess there was some concerns if you're in a public area too, at a festival or whatever it may be, they could just walk around with this thing and just collect credit card information. So, yeah, I would say if you can, keep those things in the sleeve or RFID wallet, protection wallet. Those are pretty cheap. You can get those on Amazon, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I got a quick question. Of course, my son updates and has his credit card on his phone, and a lot of people are using their phone to pay for things. How secure is that? Are you having problems, or do you know if that's?
No, I don't think there's a problem with that if it's a legitimate. I use it. I've never heard of anybody.
Fraud.
Yeah, any fraud, but I use it at places I know and trust, like Chipotle or wherever it may be. That's like an actual like place that I'll use it.
Apps for financial institutions provide more security than going to the internet to access your account.
You said apps,
Apps.
like on your phone.
For your bank, for your this, or phone or iPad.
Yeah, it all depends on whichever one. You just have to, I guess, keep your passwords updated. Change them every now and then. But I'm sure it would be just about the same as going on the website.
So the answer is no.
Well, I'll ask my sons who are in, I have a son that works for a computer company in Farmington, Number Blue, and he goes out to different companies and he makes sure on the network, and they have had scams where, they take a hold of their information and his company has to go in and protect them before they have to pay Bitcoin out because they took hold of their information.
Yeah.
So I'll ask him if he knows the difference between the computer versus the phone, what is better than the other, if he knows.
So the apps versus access.
Yeah.
I've had my banks
Versus-
that they really did.
Well, he might not-
Everyone's going to be different. Every company is going to be different on their security protocols and how much they're putting into security.
I used to teach cybersecurity before I retired.
Okay.
And generally, the apps are more secure because they set up encryption between your device and the app outside of the internet. So that when it goes through the internet, it's encrypted. Now, you can set that up on your phone to do what they call a virtual private network, where all of your transmissions are encrypted as well.
Is that when you hit private?
Virtual private network, it's called,
Yes.
it's referred to as a VPN.
Yeah, I did that when I was on computer on every website.
Yeah,
And then with your apps, you also want to keep those updated too.
Yeah.
So that gives you the best protection.
I think, it's become some are very obvious, these emails and texts that you get, but some are not. And if you let down your guard, you may just believe, you may just get.
That's the problem,
Because
crooks are getting
it's
more and
from
more
people-
sophisticated, like I said, they run from Chase for 2 minutes, he had me go.
Well, they try to mimic what the general population does. Most people use Amazon. Most people have packages coming almost daily, right? So they're gonna use the scam that your Amazon package is delayed or we need to update your information. They're gonna use that text message and you're like, oh, I really need that package, and it's already you've already kind of
It's part of your culture.
Yeah, it's part of your
You're not gonna
condition.
question it as much as
you're like,
XYZ.
oh yeah, I know I have something coming, so you might click that more likely than they're not going to use some random service. They want something that the general public is using.
One I just saw, reoccurring on YouTube that I get with Amazon groups in their email or their text that says you've got something wrong with your package, we need you to contact us. It'll be right in that text or in that email message, www.amazon.com. Okay. But it's not really the link behind it. What they've got sophisticated with is they'll change one or both A's in
Yep.
Amazon to a different alphabet, which creates a whole different address, and that's what's going to them, not going to the legitimate Amazon.com.
So- emails, we'll go back to emails now because I thought of something. We had an email come from the township supervisor, and it was an email that was just one letter off of what our actual township supervisor, it might have, so it was just one letter off, so it got sent to people, and it said, hey, I'm out of business, can you run an errand for me? I need you to go pick up a couple gift cards for the birthday party later, and just don't tell anybody, just get the numbers and get back to me. And so our township supervisors are sending everybody out for errands. So yeah, they're very crafty. Yeah, they try to fool you by, and sometimes those hyperlinks are not what they are. If you hover over them, sometimes they'll say a crazy bunch of numbers and whatever email addresses. If you hover over it, it's gonna say a bunch of crazy, numbers and symbols and whatever it may be. So you just have to be very careful of that.
One step that I want to take is to click on the from address, and when it pops up down at the bottom of the screen, check to see if that's a legitimate address. I saw a batch of this week that were all coming from other countries.
And if
And
you,
you can block that email too.
Yeah, you can block those sources.
and if you're not expecting it, it's probably not legitimate. Anybody else?
The other thing that I think we all are challenged with, everybody wants you to do things electronically anymore. So you can't hardly even call and talk to anybody. You have to go onto a website and electronically do it. And they want you to change your password every 60 days. And everybody has different rules about their strong password. Can any of us remember 60 passwords for 60 different accounts we have? So I don't know about anybody else, but I have a password file that when I have to change one, I change it. But that password file in my computer, I have a strong password on. So I don't know if you've got any tips on that, but it's a challenge that all of us are getting into, even to do
Yeah.
our retirement stuff.
Yeah.
There's nobody to talk to. You have to do it online.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you've got any tips on
Yeah,
that,
keeping
that's
a
probably the weakest
an
list.
app but you have to be cautious. Is that app
There's
also
password
part of the
vaults too.
scams?
I don't trust those because they're programmers. They're programming that and they can put back doors and get all your, I don't trust any of them.
Yeah.
Well, I do the old fashioned from years ago. I have a notebook that's this thick and every single page has a password on it.
That's too much to keep up with.
It is.
Then you
it's
gotta
a
cross
lot.
it
I did
out
that
with a
for
new one
20
underneath.
years, so
Yeah, that's
it's
why-
worked.
That's why I do it electronically. And I actually have a copy of that in a safe, fireproof safe. So if something were to happen to Kim and I or the house, my sons can get to it. And they also know Randy Eschels, who is going to talk in 2 weeks. He's got all my information for my accounts, so that they can contact him and they can help them through that process if something were to happen to Kim and I.
Oh, yeah, so that, I'll just jump on that, that's what we're doing right now, is what they call a legacy file. So, put it somewhere for if you pass away or if you're in the hospital and you can't do anything and you need your children. We're trying to set up and get information in one location, so.
And these are things we'll talk about in the weeks to come. And Pastor just mentioned something to me this week, and we have it on the agenda. Mike and I will talk about it in the 4th session. I think Randy will talk about it in the 3rd session, but you should probably have a yearly fire drill. With a yearly financial fire drill with the people that are gonna take over your estate should something happen, so they know where everything is. Otherwise, you've left them a nightmare.
There's a system that's on the internet. It's called the knock box, and that means next of kin box. And you can get it even in a fireproof box, but it's fabulous. It's a place where you just put everything, even spare keys. So if anybody is interested, it's on the internet. It's in a.
Gotta make sure it's bolted down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen many safes walk away. So any safe you have, make sure it's bolted down to the ground. And it might actually be in this book right here. But yeah, there's more tips in here on everything, more than just scams and frauds, just on your house. So yeah, I do it all with crime prevention. So yeah.
Well, just going back to the spoofing, I know there's a lot of seniors that just have trouble understanding that concept. My dad, he's 96, and gets these phone calls from people he doesn't recognize.
Probably
First,
stay
he
on the
won't
phone with
answer-
them forever.
He won't answer them, but then he tries to block them.
Oh.
And then he runs into the limit, because I said they'll never call back with the same phone number. And then he hits the limit of how many blocked calls he has. And then we've had people call us back, say, you called me? And it's like, you should never call back phone numbers of people who you don't know, who don't leave a message,
Yeah.
It's like, and they're insistent that we called them, and I said, no, we did not call you, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, at least my dad's not answering them, but he's also blocking the pastor's phone number sometimes, and things like that, And like I said, a lot of, and he just doesn't know the concept. How can they spoof a phone number? He just doesn't.
Yeah, my grandpa, he'd answer all the calls and then he'd be on the phone with them forever. I don't know what he was giving out. He was living with my uncle, but it's like,
But I mean,
stop. He kept on telling him, stop answering the phone.
The fact that people are calling back because they see an actual name, like you said, a name pop up. It might not be, West Bloomfield Police Department, but it's somebody's legit name. I said they just happened to grab a phone number that was
Spoofed.
legit.
Yep.
Okay.
A few more questions, we're down to the last 7 minutes or so.
I'm not savvy at all, but I just got something to say that my storage cloud is filled up.
Storage things too.
So what do I do? How do I clear it out? Or do I put it on a flash drive? What do you do?
Is this, who's it through? Is it Apple?
I have Apple.
You could always buy more storage. You can delete some things on there, whether pictures or, but, I mean, typically as time goes on, files get larger and larger, photo files get larger. You only get maybe 2 gigabytes free, and then 1 or 2 gigabytes, and then after that, you have to pay for more. But yeah, I paid for more, but I've already reached that limit, so. What happens is, it just doesn't get stored on the cloud, so it's stored locally until you run out of memory on your phone. Once you run out of memory, it's not gonna let you take any more pictures, it may not let you, your phone's always kind of using data. You might have to delete applications on your phone.
One of the best things to do is these new iPhones and others take really good pictures. Really good pictures take a lot of storage with each picture. So if you can move those pictures off your phone into some local storage, like you can get, external drive that you can plug in with a USB, that's where you should put them. Get them off your phone, because that takes up a lot of storage, and that keeps going up to the cloud, and that's what fills that up. But as these cameras get better and better, the reason the pictures get so good is they're using a lot of storage with every single picture.
But you can check to see what's being stored you can check your iCloud and what's stored there in terms of photos, messages, emails, and all that to see if you can get rid of this.
Check you out.
Right, she prefaced it by saying.
You have a young person. You have a young person.
She doesn't know.
It's somebody walks up
She
to
needs a young person who knows how to do this.
Yeah.
You wanna wrap up here? Yeah, we can take maybe one more question, we're in the last 4 minutes here. If you got any other questions you think of through the week, you can send them my way. Officer Pettinato is really responsive. I don't think I ever go more than a day that you don't get back to me. I sent him a note at 7 o'clock last night. I meant to do it yesterday morning. I never pressed send on it. I said, oh, sorry. And he answered me already last night, you know, so he is really responsive. If you have other questions.
Yeah, if you want any of these links, I'm going to give you the file for this. You can send it out to everybody in the class.
And make sure we have your email address over there next to your name. I'll make sure you get a copy of this, which has the links that take you to the proper websites. So,
And if you don't live in West Bloomfield, find out the fraud group within the jurisdiction that you're in.
yeah, every police department will have.
Yep. Number 10 is probably the biggest important thing. Call the police department if you're suspicious.
Something else you want to say?
I was going to remind you just to mention briefly about the other opportunities that are coming up in the next.
Yes. Yeah. We've got next week, the next 2 weeks, we've got sessions. And then we can take a week off.
Different topics.
Different topics. Actually,
Next week is Cousin's last meeting.
yeah, and it'll be at Cross Point Meadows.
And
And
remember, when you come to Cross Point Meadows, you have to come off of 13 Mile because Meadowbrook is closed between 12 and 13.
oh, I thought it was the other way. It's,
Close at 12.
Come in from
Yeah,
13.
around 13 north.
I'll have to get,
And ignore the road close sign, our entrance is open, so.
so you have to
drive
come
around.
from 13 Mile. I thought it was the other
Church
way.
is closest to 13 miles.
Yeah, I thought it was the other way. I'll have to let everybody know here, so thanks
Actually,
for that
check.
clarification.
Closer to the neighborhood sometimes.
Yeah, they change it.
They change.
Because the last time I had to come from 12 Mile.
No, it's gonna be for the next year closed at 12 Mile, because they're putting down that water pipe.
Okay.
They're running along, I said 275 and M5, it's all part of that same project.
Yeah. So we've got, we've got this session coming, and then Randy Eschels will talk 2 weeks from now back here. And then Mike and I will be on the 4th at Cross Point. And the last one, end of life, planning and stuff will be with Jim Kent. It'll be back here on April 1st, so. And it's no April Fool's joke, that's really gonna happen on April 1st. Thank you, Pat, that's a
Although
good
Jim
point.
isn't happy April 4th.
Yeah, you will do some laughing the day you're here with Jim Kent, I can promise you that. So, he's just a big kid, he's like 6 years older than me, but I think he never grew beyond about 14. So.
Give them 50.
Let's just close in a brief word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time together. We thank you for us, for Pettinato, and for West Bloomfield Police Department, and all our local police departments that are looking out for our well-being, Lord. We pray your blessing upon them. We pray your blessing upon each and every person here today. Be with us as we travel back to our homes. Thank you again, Lord. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
We just want to thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Great information.
Thank you.
Even when you think you know it all.
Make sure we have your email address. We still got bagels and coffee and orange juice. You don't have to rush out of here. There is so thank you so much.
Funny thing is, I trimmed out about 10 slides.
Okay.
I trimmed out about like 10 slides out of this because there's so much to cover.